If you've ever wanted to find real gold out in the wilderness, this is the right channel. I'm a full-time gold prospector here in Victoria, Australia, and in these videos I like to show you firsthand exactly how I go about tracing and tracking where gold is, so that you can better understand what I'm looking at so you can use this knowledge out on the creeks yourself. Today I'm out in my best tie-dyed 21ers shirt to introduce you to the world famous Rey Creek. That's not Rey Creek, that's a side tributary. But that is Rey Creek. Rey Creek is a historic gold field that was originally found back in 1851, sparking a massive gold rush here in Victoria, Australia. This creek and the valley that it sits in was originally created by a massive glacial system that came through here suspectedly about 2.6 million years ago, depending on which religion you subscribe to. But it just so happens that that glacier cut through some of the richest hard rock mining in the northeast of Victoria, depositing literally millions of ounces of gold. And today, this is our playground. This is where we get to hunt for gold. And whilst the gold on this creek is extremely fine, it is very plentiful. It's also almost 99% pure, making it some of the most pure gold on earth. For the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to have a look around at Rey Creek to see if we can't spot any gemstones, agates, crystals, things of that nature. And we're going to go looking for a decent gold deposit that I can come back to with a hive anchor. So let's have a quick look around. I've already taken a test pan from in here and I got some nice flood gold on the surface. So the thing that gave that away was that there's these big rocks and they line up where the high velocity water would be. Generally speaking, big rocks, high velocity water, that's where you'll find gold. But because we only got flood gold, I'm thinking maybe over here on this edge there might be a little bit more friction in the water, and that might have slowed down the water enough to drop the gold out. And this is what test panning is. It's just a lot of guesswork, educated guesswork, but guesswork. We got clay straight away, so that's good. We might just stick with one shovel test pans today. One shovel tells you a little bit more information than if you were to do a multiple shovel test pan, and the reason for that is a multiple shovel test pan sort of intensifies your results. If you do one shovel and do a test and you get say 10 specks in that shovel, you know that when you bring a high bank or a river sluice here, every shovel you're doing is giving you 10 specks. Whereas multiple shovel test pans change that result, and you might be in richer pockets, poorer pockets. You might have had some good pay layer, some bad overburden in your pan. This gives you a more accurate picture of what's coming out individually in every shovel. Rey Creek's also known for agates, sapphires, zircons, citrine, smoky quartz, quartz crystals, garnets, and yellow diamonds. There is a plethora of gemstones here, so we always keep an eye out in our pan for crystals and agates, and we keep all of our cons so we can go through the black sands and double check that we didn't miss anything small and valuable. I've actually seen very recently a white diamond recovered from Rey Creek, certified, tested, but that's just because the person who was prospecting was paying attention to what was in their pan. Now if I sound a little bit nasally, it's because we have got extreme hay fever going on out in the wilds of Australia at the moment. The other thing you're going to see on Rey Creek is tin, which is a black sand. Tin is non-magnetic. Rey Creek is actually quite pure tin, or has quite pure tin, and that's because of the granite base that the Rey Creek Valley is made up of. The tin is 70% pure metal, so it's quite heavy, non-magnetic, hard to remove from the gold that you collect, but also has its own value. It's worth over $35,000 a ton at the time of recording. We have got gold, it's super fine. It's going to be very hard to show you Rey Creek gold on the GoPro, but we're looking for a good spec count, and that will mean that you'll definitely be able to see it. So just stick with me. This is a learning experience for both of us. I've never been to this section of the creek before. Other people clearly have. Oh, we've got an okay spec count in there. maybe 10 or 15, not big ones though. Very, very small, very, very fine. It's all right, just there. Not the best, not the worst. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 visible ones. We probably got a little bit more than that in there. So that's about the same result I got from the center of the creek. Let's just use our eyes. I would love to check up here. It looks like other people have done some serious high banking work up here, which I mean makes sense. You see someone's tailing pile here. They've shoveled some sand out of somewhere here. They've built a dam probably to run a river sluice at this point. I mean, this is a really nice inside bend. This actually sweeps right around. I mean, it might have already been worked by whoever worked here, but hey, I'll check it. You don't know. Sometimes it feels like I'm walking on sand at the moment, but sand tends to hide good gold because you get this layer of silt when the floodwaters subside that just settles on top. And that silt can settle on top of anything, hard packed gravels, clay. It is feeling very sandy though. I mean, we'll check it, but yeah, that's pretty sandy. Oh no. That's interesting. That's decaying granite. Now, the pan I'm using is called a Batea pan. There's a few different ways to spell it. B-E-T-E-A, B-A-T-E-A, B-E-T-A-Y-T-A. Oh, there's a Y one off the top of my head. I'm not going to be able to enunciate that for you. These are traditional pans used right across the world. They require a different technique to what you'll see with Western pans. I personally have found them to be extremely accurate, also very enjoyable to use. They recover most of the gold without too much effort. They actually have a better recovery rate than something like a Garrett Super Sluice with more ease, but you have to master that technique. There is a bit of a learning curve to it first. Oh, we've got gold. I'll just get rid of this. Alright, so now we've got the black sand at the bottom. Oh yeah. There we go. About the same actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 little specks. I should have brought my bucket up because now I gotta do the long walk back. That's interesting. 10 little specks from what was essentially nothing but sand. I wonder. Inside bends are good because they create a lot of friction, right? It's that friction that ultimately slows your gold down enough. But I wonder what happens if we come out to the deeper water, right? So there's no sand over here. It's a much wider section of creek too. Ooh, that feels like clay. Ooh, that feels like clay. If that's clay, maybe. It's an interesting mix. I don't think that was clay. I think it was actually hard pack. So where the gravels have actually got pounded down by the river over time and made to sort of come together more like concrete. Still looking for those agates. Rey Creek agates are quite spectacular when you find them. The other thing I love finding here is jasper, so definitely keeping our eye out for some of that tan or red jasper that's relatively common out here. It looks like there's a bit more black sand in there. Yeah, it's chunkier too. Ooh, we might take another one from there. Go a little bit deeper. So if we're just on top of a hard pack layer, the bottom of that hard pack layer might be good. Especially if there's a false bottom like a clay layer or even bedrock. Oh, it doesn't look like there's that much gold in there though. So one of the key indicators we look for on Rey Creek is mixtures of tin. Nah, there's like 3, yeah, tiny little specks, maybe 3 of them. We look for a mixture of black sand, so we want coarse and fine black sand. We look for a mixture because the bigger the particles of black sand, the more likely it is that the gold's going to have dropped out, because black sand has roughly just a little under half the density. Oh, that's looking a lot healthier. That looks like clay to me. So the black sand has half the density of gold, or thereabouts. Ah, yes, perfect. That, see that? That is a clay layer. So that's a false bottom that the gold won't be able to penetrate through. So this rock, almost an agate. And so a mixture of black sand, because it's half the density, usually indicates that you're pretty close to a deposit, pretty close to somewhere that's going to have where your gold's going to fall out. Because if you get a particle size of black sand that's 3-4 times the size of the average piece of gold in Reedy Creek, you're about on par with weight. Now I'm speeding through these test pans a little bit. I don't actually have that much time today. I've literally got about an hour to get this done, and then I have to head off. So yeah, we might lose a little bit of gold with how aggressive I've been, but it will reveal itself if it's here. Yeah, a lot more black sand in that one. And that's just, you know, we got closer to the false bottom. The false bottom's where it's at. Oh, there looks like there's some slightly bigger pieces. Oh, yeah. All right, so let's just get rid of this front stuff. Again, hopefully you'll be able to make out some of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So a better spec count. Still too fine. It's flood gold. I'm not interested in flood gold. Okay, that's my hole from before. Shall fall in that apparently. This is interesting. So we've got this side channel here that's deviating out, and then we've got a big mound of what looks to me to be like a sandbar. And the good thing about that is that there's some really big rocks mixed in this sandbar. Take one from here and then we might go over there, but maybe. So we're hunting, right? We've got gold in every pan. That is, oh yeah, there's, ooh, all right. This clay here can be really rich, can be on Reedy Creek. That grey silty clay, it comes from sluice box tailings from not just old time miners but also modern miners who are digging up shattered, broken bedrock. You can actually see the layers in this like a cake. So different events, different time frames. And sluice tailings offer a false bottom, but they also contain a small percentage of gold that the sluice boxes lost when they were in operation. All sluices lose gold, even if it's just a little bit. So we like finding that, because you never know, like if someone had a really inefficient sluice box, it can be a bonanza of the time for us when we come along with pans, which are traditionally just a little bit more accurate because they're slower and a bit more methodical. The dirt feels different too. It's like it's denser, harder to move around, doesn't want to move as well with the same amount of water. So the only problem with clay is you really got to make sure that it doesn't cake up, doesn't bog down in your pan. It doesn't matter what pan you use, you have the same problem. As soon as it starts caking, it creates that false bottom again. Your gold sits on it instead of under it. Yeah, really fine again. It's bloody here. It's going to be somewhere around here. Right, good thought, poor execution. Let's go for a walk out into the deep water. That's what we're going to do. So you got these really obvious rocks and boulders out here. Now that is going to be a magnet for prospectors. Straight away, all prospectors are going to go towards where the bedrock is, and they go to check. So usually the good deposits of gold are found very quickly doing that. I reckon, like, oh, this is a very obvious spot to check, but I shall check it anyway, just in case. see if there's gravel down there first. Whew. I am really deep. That is a lot of sand to go through. If there's anything in this, there's probably too much sand to warrant it. Yeah, I'm not going to try that. You can see that layer there. Nah, too sandy. Access is the other part, right? Access is the other part. It's all good and well to have all the right stuff. If you don't have access to where you're working in terms of being able to get to it, then what's the bloody point? So there's boulders and rocks and all sorts of stuff here. Just trying to find a gap either in bedrock or in the boulders to get my shovel head in and see if I can't bring up some dirt with some sort of substance to it, you know, instead of just straight sand. Sand hides things. It just generally doesn't have anything in it. Oh, there we go. It sunk through the boulder. Oh, that's better. That's way better. All right, we've got some substance to it. What I mean by that, there is a little bit of clay in that. It's a very small shovel. Very, very small shovel. Ooh, that looked chunky. It looked chunky there for a second. The black sands got really big. There was just a flash of them. Oh, but is there quantity? There's gold. I've just seen a flash of gold. That's better. See the difference in size? We've gone from fine black sands to actually quite coarse. Oh, small shovel? Yeah. There's 4 specks there. More gemstones and coarser black sand. Okay. That holds more potential than the better specs downstream. And the reason for that is that that's from a really small shovel, right? Like, try and move some of this debris out of the way. It's from a really small shovel of dirt. Let's try and get a full pan's worth of that material. Yeah, feels all right. That's a better shovel. That one didn't go as deep. I think it skated off the side of the rocks, so yeah. I think we more, you know what, I'm actually going to get rid of that because that is just literally loose gravel. It's not what I'm after, it's overburden. It's what I'm after. I'm actually in contact with bedrock here. It's not just a false bottom, it's the bottom. So I need the clay. Oh, again, really? Yeah, nah. Which I think's just happened. I think I've just got under a reasonable sized boulder. Well, yeah, that's better. That's exactly what we're after. You can even see the really big chunks of black sand in it. Right, this will give us a much better idea of what is in that. Oh, glass too. Glass is a good thing to find. It actually represents pretty close to the weight of your quartz-based crystals, like citrine, smoky quartz, amethyst, because it's made of the same stuff, right? Silicon dioxide, just put together slightly differently. So if you find a lot of glass, you tend to find more gemstones. Hard spot to work, but would be very interesting to run more of a bulk sample around here and just see what comes out if you opened up a meter of ground over there. There's a lot more black sand in this. It's really good. Like a lot more chunky black sand, should I say. Again, I'm not being terribly careful with it, so I got that round swirl wrong. There we go. You can tell that you're getting into better stuff when it's harder to do that motion and get it right. So I really only get 2. Okay. There we go. That's better. Coarse, chunky tin. But we want gold with it, and I'm not seeing it. Yeah, about the same. 4 tiny little nano dots. Will you balance their bucket, or will you lose all my cons back to the creek? That is a maybe for a balance. Stay. There's kind of a bedrock uplift just here, and then it trenches down. So there's a little bit of gravel, feels like, just here on the edge of that bedrock uplift. And we like edges here because edges provide high friction. It slows the water down. Oh, it's fractured bedrock. It's fracturing bedrock. That means it's old. It's very old. It hasn't been worked. I mean, it doesn't mean there's any guarantee of a deposit of gold, but fracturing bedrock on Rey Creek can offer you some of the best gold because it offers all these little cracks for the gold to hide in. Man, imagine if it was. Imagine if it was a good one. That'd be sweet. I know on Rey Creek there are 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 spec pans that I've seen come out, and you can get grams of gold doing that. And it's just in pockets, right? You'll hit this little pocket that's just loaded. You can make bank sluicing the gravels too, but you know, sluicing gravels is a lot harder work. You got to move more dirt. I like finding the pockets here, the pockets that only take 10 or 20 pans to work out, and then you're done. And you might get 3/4 of a gram, right? But it only took you an hour to get it. So that's what I like hunting for personally. I like running the high banker when you've got a spec count of like 20 to 30 and you got a lot of gravel on a gravel bar. That's my favorite time to run them, but most of the time panning here is my preferred method. All right, there is black sand. Oh yes, yes there is some good black sand, but I don't think we're going to get much gold in it. Oh no, we've got it. Yep, that's the stuff right there. Bigger flakes, finally. So that's the size you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little flakes, lots of coarse black sand. So that is just the first test pan off this edge. So now the question is there a rich spot within this? Like, is there a spot that's gonna have been working like a sluice box or a trap? So that was on the edge. There's kind of a boulder where I'm standing now that could work like a little riffle. This is exciting. This is the best part, figuring it out. It's like down there, we've got trace gold. It's the gold you can get anywhere on Reedy. It's not really worth working when you know that there are pans out here that you can get, you know, $20, $30 of gold in one pan. So this is the same thing, but this time from a little deeper in the trench. And you know, if I find a good spot, the idea of doing these days, you know, spending an hour, spending 2 hours just looking, is so that you can come back with confidence with some gear that will move quantity, so you get a really good take for the day. And this is the reality of it. I like showing people the process, not just the end results. So many gold prospectors on YouTube and Facebook just show them getting amazing results, which is cool. But you want to see the work that goes behind it to give people a realistic expectation, especially if you're not just an entertainment channel. You know, there's a lot of people out there that prospect just for entertainment. That's great. I'm not one of those people. I do education and showing the reality of how hard it is and how long it takes is, I think, very important. This one didn't look like it had as much, if I'm being honest. Oh no. Oh no. No. It's in there. It's definitely in there. Yep. Slightly better spec count. Oh, way better spec count, actually. Heaps more specs. But fine. So it's here. It's going to be in this section. It's definitely going to be in this section. So here's the question. Where does it start? It's scouring this bank. That's what the floodwaters are doing, is scouring this. I'm not interested in the scouring. I'm interested in the deposition. Oh yeah, okay, so there's a big bedrock uplift just here. And it drops back down into what feels like sand. So this is where we're going to check. Where's the bedrock wall? There we go. I always try to follow the bedrock walls down because it kind of, you know, you can get your shovel between the wall and any boulders or big rocks that are there. A bit easier. Interesting. Okay, we're pushing a big rock at the moment. A lot of that's just sand. Oh no, but we've got charcoal. So possible bushfire layer. Probably more likely campsite. But bushfire layers cause a lot of erosion, or that they're from the product of a lot of erosion. And they can be very rich. So if we pull up a lot of charcoal, that would indicate one of them. That's the stuff. That's, wow, it looks very interesting, doesn't it? I mean, at the very least, I'm excited to see what's in it. Even if there isn't any gold, this just feels like the right spot. Feels like we're in the right area. We've got decayed bedrock, we've got coarse chunky black sand, we've got clay, we've got better spec size of gold. So it might not be right here, it might be up there, might be a little bit further down there, but I'm willing to bet with a little bit more time, we're going to find a really good spot. Nice big bit of tourmaline there. You go on the bucket. Tourmaline's not quite as dense as the tin, so it sits on top. It's actually similar to quartz. And so the density prevents it from sinking. It's very easy to wash tourmaline out of your pan for that reason. Right, there's a little bit more cons in there than I normally like to keep. We wash that light sand off first from the front, and you'll actually see pieces of gold go down if they're in there, which they're not. Oh, we got gold. Oh, yeah. Oh, we've definitely got gold. Oh, it's about the same though. It's just not, it's really fine again. We're hunting it. We're still hunting it. Nice. I've abandoned the one test shovel idea now. Mostly because we're working broken bedrock. I should have explained that earlier. The one shovel pan is usually reserved for gravels. Bedrock's a little different because it's spread out. Like, you want a full pan's worth. It just comes down to quantity, right? Like, I know that if I put a shovel of gravel in every time, it's going to be roughly the same. Whereas a shovel of bedrock can be like just a scrape off the surface, or it can be a full shovel's worth or half a shovel. So the quantity changes. You just want realistically a full pan every time, not a greedy one. Anyway, we digress. It looks interesting. We're getting closer. That was a good pan, like 30 specs from behind the boulder. 20, 30 specs. Fine, but it's showing that gold's moving through this area, so maybe there's a really good accumulation somewhere nearby. I bet my bottom dollar though, it's over there underneath 3 or 4 foot of sand, which is pretty much impossible to move with just a shovel. Oh, did you see the black sand in that? Look at the black sand. Look at that. Look how thick that is. Oh, that's good. That's a really good sign. It's that mix I was talking about earlier. Yeah, it's a good looking pan, as in the black sand's good. Got like a baby piece of zircon, possibly just there. Does it have gold though? Does it have gold? It does, it does, it does. It's about the same as what the other pan was. Yeah, about the same. 30 pieces of gold, but super fine. One nice flake. And if you want to experience this in your very own home, you can jump over to theoldmouldy.com.au. I've got pay dirt up literally from this creek. You get all the gemstones, black sand, and gold that you see on camera, but we guarantee a minimum of 1 gram in our 1 gram pay dirts. Meaning you can come out here without actually having to come out here anywhere in the world. By my estimates, we have enough time to do maybe 3 more pans before I have to go. So we've worked out that this area is good. The question is whether or not we can find a spot that's premium enough to warrant working. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff going on over here. We've got gold there. We've got gold here. It's in the trench. I'm just wondering maybe... And we got gold, like decent gold up in these rocks here. So maybe this is where I should be checking. Outside bend, where the erosion's happening, where it's washing everything away, hopefully leaving the heavies behind. Hard at digging, but kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. There's this beautiful bedrock shelf here. It'd be good to check in behind that. No, I didn't get very deep at all, man. That's like literally the tip of the shovel. That may just be a one shovel pan. Oh, we've got gold up the back already though. Ooh, that was probably a good idea to check. Pretty much guarantee there's only going to be very, very, very fine stuff in that. But for that small amount, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 pieces of gold. Very fine, very, very fine. For today, that's where I leave it. Hopefully this has been informative. This is what the reality of gold prospecting is. We found gold in almost every single pan today, even though it's fine. I'm glad that I came out and did this. We narrowed it down to a section of creek that I got to keep exploring. There will be a pocket here. It's just a matter of time and a matter of test pans until I find it.